What's up, guys? I'm going to try to keep it short. Today we're going to talk about estimating your electric cost. This is really easy. I'm going to try to keep it short because I went to school for electrical engineering and I could talk about things like this for an eternity. My plan is to give you the full gist of it in the very beginning of this video, maybe the first 2 minutes, and then I'll go into perhaps why some of these things are the way they are. Something that you guys probably don't have to know. Okay, so you basically pay for electricity from the power company, and what they're charging you for is a quantity, which is a number, and that number is made up by your number of watts over a course of some period of time. We'll talk about some more on that later, but what you need to do is find your electric bill and look for a number with a label next to it called kilowatt hour. So as an example, your bill will say 15 cents per kilowatt hour. Kilo means 1,000, so 1,000 watt hours. What that means is every time you run 1,000 watts for one whole hour, you pay 15 cents. For example, if you have a 1,000-watt grow light and you ran it for 18 hours, you can just take 1,000 times 18, and that'll give you 18,000 watts or 18 kilowatts. And if you pay 15 cents per kilowatt hour, this comes out to $2.40 per day, just for that one single light. But what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to figure out how many lights you have, and you basically going to multiply this by that number of lights that you're going to have for the amount of time that they're running. So basically you're going to figure out all the electrical equipment that's running inside of your room that controls all the factors of your grow room for you. And you're going to look at the back of their labels or somewhere on their motors. It's going to tell you how many watts they pull. Or you can get a meter, which is even more accurate, for pretty cheap off from basically anywhere. Just make sure the meter can handle what you're plugging it into, and it'll tell you how many watts it's pulling. And usually those meters will even give you the number of watt hours that you've pulled over a certain amount of time. So you basically, your best way is just to look at the labeling, and maybe even give yourself a little overestimate. I think I only pay like $11.5 cents per kilowatt hour, so it's even cheaper for me. That's just an example. I think that's like the national average or something. That's basically just a very quick rundown on how you guys would figure that out. Obviously, after you get your average use here in hours per day, you would just do the same calculation. Take your watts, times it by your hours, put it into a kilowatt form, times that number by what you pay for a kilowatt. That gives you what you have in a day. Then take that number, multiply it for how many days that equipment is going to run. And that's going to give you the total rundown on what your expected electrical bill is going to be. So, it includes pumps for teas and all kinds of stuff, aerators, you name it. So you guys can basically be done with this video now. I'm just going to go on and talk a little bit about why these things are like this. I'll start off with an analogy. We'll start off with 2 buckets of water. One bucket's got a big hole and one bucket's got a small hole. So both buckets have the capability of filling these equal-sized bins to the same height. The only difference here is how fast they do it. This bucket here might take 1 second. This bucket here might take 8 seconds. Even though their rates are different, if you were in control of this process, you could fill both bins up to the same height, no matter what size hole you started out with, as long as you were good at timing it. So the point here is these buckets, the water is like electricity. And basically the power company is not paying you for the rate of electricity that you're using. Or not paying, they're not charging you for the rate. They're not charging this dude anything less because they're charging you for the volume. Is the same. They're charging you for the volume. And so obviously if things kept going in a month, there'd be much more electricity used in this half. But I hope you guys can see the connection there of why we pay for a watt hour and why we don't pay for a watt. A watt would be analogous to how big each one of these droplets are. This might be 1,000 watt. This might be 100 watt. To this analogy, you know, this could be 8 watts and this could be 1 watt. I'll do that. This is 8 watts. This one is 1 watt. That's why this one takes 8 seconds to have the same amount of energy as this one takes 1 second to have. So there you guys have it. Watts and watt hours and joules. Watt hour, joule. Okay. Peace out.